A very warm welcome. I'm Akanksha Swaroop. Israel's President Isaac Herzog has unveiled alternative changes to the judiciary on Wednesday. This was in response to a planned overhaul by Israel's far-right coalition that has triggered mass protests in recent weeks. The drive by Netanyahu's hard-right government to enact sweeping changes to Israel's courts has sparked domestic uproar. It has also alarmed the country's Western allies. If the initial proposal passed, it would mean greater government sway in selecting judges. The move would also limit the power to the Supreme Court to strike down legislation. One major point of contention in the planned overhaul is an amendment to the way in which judges are selected in Israel. Israel's Justice Minister Yariv Levin has said that the coalition's proposed measures would change the way judges are appointed in Israel, a process that would give the Knesset more oversight and the government more power on the committee which selects them. And here's what the selection committee would include as per President Herzog's plan. 3 ministers, the President of the High Court, 2 judges and 2 civil servants who will be agreed upon by the Supreme Court and the Justice Minister. President Herzog has warned that Israel was at a turning point and stressed that he'd been involved in mediation efforts for weeks. The attempt is to broker a compromise between members of the coalition and those who oppose the judicial changes. In fact, the president has said that Israelis want a plan that will bring both justice and peace. But Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected this new proposal. This is what he had to say shortly before departing for his trip to Berlin.
I'm now departing on a visit to Germany, where I will meet with the German Chancellor. The main subject that I will discuss is Iran, as well as the other issues that are important to the state of Israel. The security issues do not take a break even for a moment. As for the president's proposal, I think every attempt to reach an agreement and talks is admirable, and thus the coalition representatives went and talked to the president several times. Although the opposition members were not willing to discuss even once, unfortunately, the issues the president proposed were not approved by the coalition representatives, and the main parts of his proposal will only worsen the current situation and cannot guarantee the balance needed between the authorities in Israel. This is the unfortunate truth. Now I'm going to Berlin. You are welcome to come along.
Jerusalem woke up to the sight of a long red line painted by protesters along roads leading to Israel's Supreme Court. This was hours after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected a compromise deal for his government's planned judicial overhaul. Israel's police has said that they've arrested 5 people who had disguised themselves as workers to carry out the protest action overnight. It should be noted that the action is being viewed as being deeply symbolic, simply because Israel's President Isaac Herzog has said that a civil war is a red line. And so a slogan stenciled in red onto the road in Hebrew, Arabic, even English by the side of the road reads, "Drawing the line." Israeli protesters also launched a day of resistance on Thursday. They flocked the streets of the ultra-Orthodox city of Brak, whose leaders are among the coalition and religious nationalist government, all pushing for the judicial overhaul. Now, in this city, protesters tried to erect a mock military recruit station. They said now it's the time for ultra-Orthodox Jews to go to the army and share their burden. This came among what they dubbed as a quote-unquote day of resistance, just the morning after Prime Minister Netanyahu rejected the compromise deal. And so demonstrators spread in different locations across Israel, blocked roads around commercial hub Tel Aviv and in other cities as well. At the Haifa port, a few flag-toting protesters on boats, including former Navy men, tried to block the docking lanes.
We want to fight for what is right, and there should be a constitution here, and there should be a long-standing and stable judicial system that needs some fixing, but not as impulsive as these crazy right wings who kidnapped democracy wanted to be. That's unacceptable, and we will fight to the end.
The election was correct. They got 64 seats in the court. This is fine, but they changed the democracy, and everything is going to change. They will suffer this as well, like every other in the country. It doesn't matter left or right or center. It's all over the country. across the nation. So it doesn't matter. They go after, the leader, Bibi, fine, doesn't matter. You can see here people from the left, from the right. I don't think it's any kind related to what you believe. It's the nature of our country. That's what's going to change. And we cannot stand behind, and we need to go out and say shout what we believe.
But let's also refer to what Israel's president has to say. On Wednesday, Herzog warned that Israel was at a turning point following the planned overhaul by Israel's far-right coalition. The president said Israel was in the depths of a real crisis, but also in front of a huge opportunity and at a fork in the road. Let's listen in to what Israel's president has said.
Whoever thinks that a true civil war, where human life is at stake, is a border we won't reach, has no clue, specifically now in the 75th year of the State of Israel. The abyss is at arm's reach. A civil war is a red line. I won't let that happen, at any cost, and in every way. We are in the depths of a deep crisis, but I believe with my whole heart that we are standing before a huge opportunity that is historic. An opportunity for a constitutional agreement that is balanced and smart with consensus from the different countries in our Jewish and democratic state, in our beloved state.
במדינה היהודית והדמוקרטית שלנו, במדינה האהובה שלנו.